tiering out your accounts, if you're not doing this already, and having like, so take, let's say you have 50 accounts that you want to go after. You've got 50, I'm going to use that number, 50 accounts. Tier them out. So give your top tier 1 accounts and put those aside. Then get your middle bunch, your tier 2, and then get your tier 3s. I want you focusing your time on your tier 1s, right? Those are the ones that are well qualified. You've done your research. You know the players. I want you to be able to recite the names of the C-suite. I want you to know everything about them. And that's where you hyper personalize in that tier 1. And that's where you spend your time. Now, there's still these tier 2s and tier 3s, kind of what Jack was saying about time management. It doesn't mean you ignore them. But what I do on a weekly basis is I'll make a note, 15 minutes, literally some point in time on my calendar, like just 15 minutes. And I'll go into my tier 2s and I'll spend a little bit of time trying to figure out if there's a reasonable thing for me to think that I could pull them into my tier 1. Did something happen? Did someone move there? Is there a trigger? I'm looking for something of a way that I can connect with them. Right. And I might build up that tier 1. My tier 3s typically are going on kind of like nurturing, here's a piece of information that I think you might find helpful, but that is more automatic. That is not necessarily what I'm doing in my tier 1. So backing it up and thinking about your time, if you have a book of business or you have a set of accounts, try tiering them out. Spend an hour or 2 in the morning, once a week, Monday morning, map out what you want to spend your time on. And the thing that I always do to kind of check myself before I wreck myself is make sure that I want to know, I want to know names. Like if John came to me and said, Megan, give me your top 10 accounts and I want to know exactly who you're going after and what you've had. I want to be able to recite that because I want them like in my veins. I want to know who they are. I want to know what they've been doing. And that's going to, when I do or have had conversations with these tier 1s, I start on a much higher level than I would if I hadn't done anything before. And that's what I'm constantly trying to remind myself to do, is come in at the same playing field, the same level, the same rung of a ladder, I don't care how you want to describe it, as your prospect. And that is going to be a game changer for you and how you have that conversation.
I was actually talking to John Barros himself in the last webinar we had, and he mentioned something really cool. He's like, when it comes to the tier 3s, save them for the end. And don't, if a deal comes along and you know that they're going to get into your discovery call, take the discovery call anyway and use it for practice. You know that it might not be the best, but you can improve your discovery. You can improve what questions you're going to ask. So the next round of tier 1s and tier 2s that you have, you're ready. You're ready to hit the ground running. So use those tier 3s, guys. Don't be afraid to really utilize your whole pipeline. It's not just sticking to tier 1s and 2s, because that could be exhausted real fast. Now, when it comes to, tell me, Mike.
Really quick, just you mentioned a really good point. Taking meetings with tier 3s, right, on the discovery level, not only should you be using that for practice, but also you can build great relationships. Okay, so relationships is key in sales. If you're meeting with a tier 3 account, you never know, they might turn in, there might be more that you can't see, right, that's behind the lines, but they might know somebody that you're prospecting to, or better yet, they might know an account that really could use your service. And without you even asking it, that now becomes a champion of yours. For instance, we have a company that works with, that's a partner of ours at SaaStr. And without us even knowing, their CMO referred 5 different companies to SaaStr. 5. Without asking us, without doing anything. 5 people. So take the meeting, okay, if you have the time, and build a relationship. Not saying take a meeting if it's absolutely not a fit. You are strictly B2B, they're B2C, they don't even touch B2B. Like, sure, that's going to be a waste of time. Unless you can see that like they have some sort of connection, but don't downplay the connection piece.
Yeah, and it's also, sorry, Adrian, but it's also a value add with those tier 3 accounts, as Mike said. Like, people will talk. SaaS is like this little, culty bubble, for better or worse. But people talk, and like Brian, my VP of sales, preached to me. He's like, he's giving me lower tiered accounts to go practice with. But when I go talk to them, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, they may not be a fit, but how can I give you them a value add? and exit the conversation feeling like they still got something, even though it served, like it didn't result in a deal for me. And the way I think about that is, hey, SaaStr could add a lot of value to your team, even if you just attend. So I'll be like, hey, I'd want to throw you free tickets. And that's that relationship piece. And then that's what gets people talking. And then that's what brings in those brand champions.
How many touches until you stop chasing an inbound?
In terms of how long you should be reaching out to them.
Yeah. How many touches until you just stop chasing?
We have a rule of thumb at SaaStr where if it's a no now, it'll be a yes in the future. So it's all about, we use signals, right? So if a team says no in January, but then they go on to do a $45 million round in June, that's a signal to go reach out. And that's why it's so important to track your metrics and your prospects through LinkedIn Sales Nav and that sort of thing, and through company pages, is because, okay, we can't do this certain investment right now. Okay, well, I understand. Let me know how I can add value in the future. But then you go, oh, hey, you just did this round, or hey, you just hired a VP of marketing. That means, hey, if you have a VP of marketing, that means you're probably looking to do some sort of brand pivot, brand awareness of some kind. Okay, I'm going to go reach out to you and be like, hey, so-and-so, I just noticed you hired a VP of marketing. That's really great. I see they've been at hyper growth teams in the past. How are you planning for that accordingly? And that essentially restarts the conversation. The conversation is never truly dead because there's always new signals to go after, whether that's a month from now, 2 months from now, et cetera. And that's the way Mike and I plan it out at SaaStr.